Yeah, well, Prof here, and we got a video that some of you have been waiting quite a while for, and that is my new bottom box, my PACKOUT. This was just being announced when I kind of finished my PACKOUT stack, and I think I mentioned in some other videos, I saw it in person. The first week it came out, I saw it in person at our local Home Depot, and I didn't pick it up, which is fine, because it was full price. I think which is $270. There's a kitten on top that has been there all day, and the kitten hasn't been on top of there. This actually, I had to get shipped in for whatever reason, because I couldn't do a store pickup, despite it saying they had some in stock. Don't know. But it was one of those giant cardboard boxes that was right there. So, the big thing this is this is not only like a bottom, right? But it is a drawered bottom, which, like, what is it actually called? Rolling drawer toolbox. The other thing, if you can notice here, is that this handle is now the height of the box, whereas before it would have stood up about this much above, or maybe the handle height here above, like the original base box would have. And what that did not allow for is if you had a tonneau cover on your pickup truck, it would not fit because it was too tall. So the fact that this goes down just that little bit more allows it to fit, supposedly. They've sort of fixed that on some of the other bottom boxes that aren't drawers by making the handle removable, which I believe it is here too. There's those little black buttons there and there, and you can take the whole handle out. Looks like this guy, being as big as it is, does have handles on the side, so you can hoof it, pick it up. The other ones would you just grab by the lid here, right? But this actually has, big handles that you would usually see. The configuration I had before of the cart and the two drawers, not the cabinet, because technically the cabinet, that's not advertised to be used that way. You'll see how it's going to be used here shortly, or reused, I should say. But getting the I call it a cart. It's not technically a cart. It is a dolly, right? And then getting the drawers that go on the dolly, because realistically, when you get on the bottom, the default PACKOUT, I would rather have. You have to get 3 items. Technically, for about the same money on sale, you can get 3 items, which is dolly and 2 drawers. Like, say, the 2 drawer and the 3 drawer, or the 3 drawer and the 4 drawer. Supposedly in the 3 drawer, you can fit their 1/2-inch impact, and it'll fit. Which makes it far more useful. I originally got the 2 drawer and the 3 drawer because I didn't know how much would fit in there. And then I later on followed up with the 4 drawer, and I think you guys might have seen the video of that where got it on a real good sale, and it was broken, of course. Right, Paisley? Just my luck, right? And that was the item that I had to get from a different Ace Hardware. That wasn't the normal one we go to. This, however, came from Home Depot. Ace Hardware did not have any great deals on Milwaukee stuff this year, from my experience. However, Home Depot did. I think, like I said, this is $270, maybe $280 normally. Home Depot had it on sale for $250. And then, oh geez, where's my other PACKOUT item? Totally forgot about this guy that's got to go out in the garage. So there's the router and the batteries and the charger. Ooh, hey, look at that. There's my flush cutter I still haven't done a video on. Alright. So this is what I'd wanted this as well, which is, you're like, that's just a crate. Yeah, exactly. Actually, what it was being used for in there, right there, just carrying tools around, so that when I can, when I need to pull some from, because when the PACKOUT is not my main toolboxes. You guys have probably seen my Craftsman ones in here. I got 2 of those, and there's one on the ground that needs to go up there. However, I do that because they are not bolted together. I need to figure out what size bolts that is. If you open up more than one drawer, it falls on you. Bad. So until I do that, it's on the floor. But there are my better tools are there. So what that is for taking tools that aren't already in the PACKOUT with me. Or I wouldn't have room to put in the PACKOUT, or basically you grab that thing, bring it down here, hook all the stuff you need that you don't have already out there, bring it out there, and then it snaps together on ice, so you can take it with you if you need to. Just super handy to sometimes have a bin to put shit that doesn't actually have a place in your kit. Or, for example, like if we go over to, like, say if I was going on site and I needed to bring not all these Irwin bits here, but all this true cable hardware, right? Like right there, and like, because that's going to get installed. I don't carry it with me all the time, right? Hook it in that bin. I can slap it on top, easily bring it with. Paisley's going to go in the bin. Yeah, called it. So I think that's still an expensive $50. However, if you spent $300, I think, might have been two. I think it was $300 though. If you spend $300, you get $90 off at Home Depot. So this was already on sale for $250. It's probably just about a year old, maybe not even fully. I'd say like definitely 8 months, but not much more, right? So got that on sale. That was a little bit on sale, I think, too. But then the big thing was spend a certain amount, get a good chunk off. So in this case, like, I actually saved money by buying that. Hey, I'll take it, right? It's kind of like with the batteries. Buy a 2-pack of batteries. Also came with a charger, get a free router. Those batteries were cheaper than the router would have ever been. And hey, we can use more batteries, I guess, right? So that's the stuff I'm saying look for. Like on that deal too, you could have easily, like, a normal standard PACKOUT is $250. If you would have spent $300 on, say, like the original kit, which was the dolly and the 2 drawers, you would probably be up over $300. Then you knock $90 off. Then you're below the $250 that the base PACKOUT, which is not the drawer PACKOUT. Remember, the base PACKOUT is literally like toolbox, with almost no separators. Whereas and yes, these are bigger and heavier, and that's more if you're going to buy it for yourself. I can see why a lot of people get like the 3-pack for their dad or something, right? I think I've seen those 3-packs as low as $229, but usually they're right on like $250, $260 for that. I just feel like if you're a knowledgeable buyer, even if you're buying for somebody else, I would probably buy them the dolly and the 2 drawer systems over, like, unless they just need bulk. Because, like, realistically, though, the standard toolboxes are no better than that with a top. Maybe a little bit better, but not much, in my opinion. I would much rather have the drawer systems. Unless this is something where you always are going to keep your tools in your big toolboxes, and then when you go and do stuff, you just huck it in there and you go, right? I feel like for a lot of people, mainly at home, they might be going to PACKOUT as their main toolbox. I've seen like 2 PACKOUT stacks. It's considerably less space than even the Craftsman toolboxes, which like an actual like auto mechanics toolbox would be twice the width of those. But that's what I had. That's what I built on. I'm still looking for if you guys ever see one, let me know. They have a 2-drawer Craftsman toolbox out there. And basically what I want to do is, if you notice, this top one that you can actually like pull off, that's what's got the handles, and use as a tool chest, I guess. It's a little bit taller than that guy, right? So if we take that guy over there and put it on top of there, right? If I get the 2-drawer version of this one, minus basically this guy right here, just these two, that would make this stack the same height as that stack's going to be. However, well, these 3 drawers are really common. The 2-drawer, though listed on Blaine's Farm and Fleet, haven't seen in stock. I don't know, I've been watching for like 2 years now. There were some on eBay as well, but they've been sold out. So that's really the last thing I want to get for this. And that would probably put this top of this up to about there, or maybe a little bit higher. Like this lip, I mean. Yeah, if you're wondering, like, why did you put the new one in between here? I just thought it'd be less noticeable. Then I can pop that one up there. I specifically want to keep this top one, though, on the top, because shit's fallen on it, and it's been dented before. So I'm going to put like a board before. I just had some 2x4s. Either I'm going to screw together or bolt together the 2x4s, or I'm going to get a proper, like I'm not going to use my nice desktop, which is actually countertop back there, but, like a proper thick board for the top of that thing. I got my engraver. That's what I was starting doing. But so yeah, I mean, if you're just like kind of using this as like a huck tools in it, take it someplace. I could see not wanting drawers or not caring about not having the drawers. However, if you're at all like the way that I want to work, that's going to have 4 things stacked on top of it, or 3 things stacked on top of it once you get where you're going. You're not going to want to unpack it all just to get to it, in my opinion. That was like the biggest flaw, and on what I saw, like the very first gen PACKOUT, I barely knew about. But even when PACKOUT first standardized and you'd see those 3 sets, my biggest thing is like, okay, but like your big heavy shit's in the bottom. In order to get to it, you got to take off the top 2, and this is assuming that you bought the PACKOUT because you want to expand it. And this alone is as big as that initial 3 kit, right? In here, you get 2 main dividers that go this way. You get a little tool tray that can go in the middle. It can go in any of these various places here. I believe 2 of those can come in a variant, like a general toolbox variant. And then you have some more dividers that are in here, right here, that can split it up into like 9 slots, basically. I have also seen other people selling like 3D printed dividers, or I have access to a 3D printer, so I can make my own potentially as well. I think some of them, even for the other drawers, they started making them out of aluminum because those are just plastic. So that might be an upgrade down the line to look for. But this is realistically for your bigger shit, right? Your full size, I was going to say hacksaw, sawzall, like your full size sawzall will fit in there. Some of your taller stuff, like this is deep enough that's why it's going to have 9, is because you can literally put stuff straight down in and it'll fit, right? I like a great example that I think a great example I gave last time, though, and this we might have to take one of the dividers out of one of the sides, though, is a circular saw, right? None of the other stuff in here is going to be big enough for that. And that's how I was using that cabinet before, kind of, was for that sort of big, and generally, like, that is not stuff I will need regularly, but I need a place to put it. Plan now is going to be, we'll get out there and I'll show you where this is going. Should be able to bring my 4 PACKOUTs wherever I need to go, and have what is effectively, I guess, like a backup set of tools, because the good ones are in there. I shouldn't say good ones. Okay, so you guys have seen my nip extend Nipexes. Those are over there. The Nipex are going to be in here. It's like the downgraded tools. Not that they're bad, but that's why they're also in the garages. They're like enough to hopefully get started. If I am starting to do a bigger thing, we grab that guy, we come down here, we get what we need. that sort of thing. So let me get this up and out to the garage, and we'll show you how it's going to get assembled with the other packouts. In my opinion, it's like dream packout configuration. After this, it's going to be device specific at this point, or what I mean by that is like you saw I did with the screws. You put that in packout. Like it's gonna be like I'll be buying specific packouts for specific purposes beyond what's here. And a lot of that's gonna be storage and organization rather than tools. Even this is purposely somewhat built out. It will not be full by any means, right? So let me help you. Before we do, most useless packout. The one thing that is really cool though about this, I guess not really cool, it's not anything amazing, I guess, but it's got the hooks on the back. You'll see why that's important soon. All right, so you might hear the heater kicking off. This should go up one higher. There we go. So that is the current packout stack. To be truthful, for moving that much stuff, we'll have to see how this handle goes. All right, I can tell you that dolly with those 3 drawers hooked up, beautiful. But for portability, that's what I drive. Mini Cooper. All right, normally I rock the seats down. So I think, well, I already know I can fit these 3 in there. Boom, 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 boom. The issue is the dolly. Its length is the issue. Whereas with this box, it's going to give better storage. And yeah, the label's still on these. I mostly picked up those last time with, I think I picked up these and the 4 drawer here as a deal from Ace. But yeah, originally I wanted this on the bottom. I saw quite a few people on the social medias doing that. They're like, oh, that would make it just like this. Like, imagine that on the bottom. You could come up here and get at your stuff, right? However, this is really actually designed to be up on the wall, right? So I redid this, not like against what people wanted, but what a lot of the suggestions, like I said, were to have this kind of the bottom. You will notice one big issue, potentially, because this is a wall or like a vehicle, like it's supposed to be a cabinet, right? Kind of like how we showed you the hooks on the back of that. There are hooks on the back of this, many. So it's definitely designed to hold a heckin' lot more weight than that guy is. But what does it not have? It does not have the metal beams that support it. So what would happen is it would get wobbly as hell. If you see this already, go back and watch my other PACKOUT video. This is nothing that's stable compared to this being on the bottom. Now, when they showed that on the bottom, I think they only showed like a 2-drawer or a 3-drawer on top of it. That might be okay. What I really want to have is big drawer and going up to the small drawers and then taking stuff like the storage as needed and hooking it on top. So now, this being as compact as it is, it's not that much shorter than the dolly handle, right? But it is shorter. And I can tell you that is a heckin' lot more stronger, sturdier, and stable than that is. So we'll have to see how this goes. I have multiple ways of doing this now. Oh, and here's another thing that happened with Ace prior to this. I remember this now. My dolly came with the wheels installed the wrong way. Don't know how that fucking happens. They hadn't seen it before either. And then even on the first one, something was wrong with one of the drawer systems, if I recall correctly. You'd have to go back and check out those videos. And, oh crap. Well, let's run back downstairs real quick. We forgot the arm for the phone. Look, I put it right there so I wouldn't forget it. All right, clippy clamp. There we go. Let's just scoot you guys in there. Rock quick lock. Would have made this video earlier in the night, but I had to figure out how to get some stuff ordered from Japan with my new credit card that doesn't have international fees. And then because of the tariffs, a bunch of shit had changed since March. Yep. There's the heater. The corner. It was -1 the last time I looked, and that was 8 or 9 p.m. So I'm sure it's -6 right now, according to the watch. Yeah, we need that in order to speed. Otherwise, where I live, for those wondering, during the winter, your garage becomes another refrigerator, or in many cases another freezer. So some of these, I was gonna say have tools. Wow, look, a whole ratcheting screwdriver. I must have needed this for some reason. That's the Megapro that kind of influenced LTTs. Really, they got the ratcheting mechanism from LTTs. Quality screwdriver with a bit more grip. Keep an eye out. I may have something from that LTT sent over. Yeah, there's just some random tools that I've brought out here that haven't been needed or haven't been So this is something that was mentioned. If you look, all the locks are on the right side on these drawers, whereas on this drawer, it's on the left side, like it was on their their cabinet is on the left side right there. So annoyingly, what that does is for those people who would put one bar through all of this, right? They just run a bar, put these up, and then run a bar through, boom, 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 boom. I've seen it on many a location, and then lock it. That would also lock them together, right? You can't do that because that guy is implemented more like their cabinets are rather than like their classic drawer system. Oh, trying to take this off. And one thing I did do to help, these stayed at this back. This actually used to be much more wibbly wobbly. What I did do is I added some Velcro straps. So that's why that wasn't coming off right away. Do you not know how to pack out? No, I just forgot that I added these here. And the reason for that is way more wibbly wobbly. So what I did is I just would use those to loop around the metal supports on there, and just reinforce things a bit. This guy goes straight on, yeah, like that. I don't know if they intend to go 400 with this, what their recommendations are. Whoa, I got the Ryobi blower. This thing was great. Used to be 30 bucks. I think it's now like way more. I don't remember. Yeah, it's the watch, but how much is a Ryobi inflator P738? Not worth shit. What is the cost of a Ryobi inflator P738? Apparently 60 bucks. 66 is what they're saying. I'm guessing 60 or 65. These used to be 30. And if you need something to just blow off a work area, great. This was actually another thing too. I ordered, these were, as soon as I heard about it from somebody, I forget online who I was watching, they're like, yeah, they call them inflators when realistically people are using them as blowers. Once Ryobi figured out people were using these as blowers, the price shot up. Because they used to just be a flat 30 bucks. I got here's a Ryobi battery here. It's not anything amazing. But you know, like this toolbox is all dusty. It'll blend. Get a little spooder webs off there. You might be saying, why using the big ass battery? It's the only ones we have. That's because we use them for the yard equipment. But yeah, so that's going to stay out here because I actually ordered one from Home Depot back in the day and they sent two. Asked them if they wanted it back, they're like, no. Oh, hey! Yep. angle grinder in one of there. Like I said, I knew there was some in some of this. We got flap wheels, we got our cutoff discs, all that sorts of shit. Now that's probably not gonna be where it lives permanently, but you never know. And this is what I was talking on these. Look right there, you don't need the pull-out handles that are on the bottom guy, because they're kind of just, I actually like this better than the flip-out big guys. It's just built right into the top. Now, I think it was my 4-drawer was cracked. See, this is like a reasonable height still. The handle is adjust below that. I got this one. Nothing there. But this is supposedly in the 3-drawer here. You can fit their big impact. This is the guy. This 4-drawer was the one that came all fucked up. They didn't admit to it, but like it looked like it fell off the back of somebody's fucking trunk. The screw holes that are like on the inside of this lid were broken. So I ended up getting it swapped out there, but there you go. So that's like neck height for me, you know. And this is basically what I wanted, was a portable, that one's a little separated right now, portable toolbox. Yeah. And then, well, you're like, well, what are you gonna do? You have that cabinet. Well, yes I do. Yes I do. So Mr. Cabinet, you guys remember, this is gonna have heavy things. I'm gonna go where it was supposed to be in the bottom here. There you go. And why did I get Mr. Crate, right? Because if you go back here, bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, and then if I need Mr. Crate, we can just grab her off there, put her up there, and like so. Or worst case, crate on top of here, just for easy access like I want. And that was at least my thought. And then the other thing I can do around here is I have a number of these. You guys saw the one for my screws. You saw the wider one for my networking hardware. These two are currently not, they're dusty and not used yet. I know we plan to potentially use one for the staple guns. I have the Milwaukee staple gun, and I've seen there's a guy on Instagram that makes inserts for these, like 3D printed inserts that can fit the Milwaukee staple gun as well as staple. I'll see how it is. He keeps it real compact, so I don't know if that's too compact for my needs. Like a lot of times, yeah, it'll fit the tool, but like not any of the accessories that go with it. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think. Let's see if this handle can hold up. Tipping her back. Yeah. Now this thing's not filled with tools, so I don't know where Milwaukee's suggestions are there. If they recommend 4 high, but at least for me, the ladders are going behind the door. eventually. I have ladder hangers. And then these will go behind the door. So, well, not behind the door. Like the door will be, I want to be able to open the door, right, and not hit shit. So they will probably be a little bit in front of our slat wall here. Yeah, to be truthful, I'm thinking, yeah, on top of here, at least when it's here, I'll probably throw a lot of that storage, or unless that storage gets real tall, then we'll put it on top of that cabinet on the bottom there, and I'll move the crate to on top of here. You know, pretty variable. I just wanted the crate to be like that with the box on top of there. Easily, if I need to cart something around here, can chuck it in the bottom guy, can chuck it in the top guy, and wheel it around, you know. Or if I want to throw the screws in there, you know, grab a impact and a drill, toss it in there, throw the screws. Like like I said, I often refer to that dolly as a cart, because that's kind of what I use it as, basically a little cart. So yeah, I have to get most of the stuff I've thrown in here, I've already just thrown in here because it hasn't been set up yet. Now that they're all out here as is, I have a slew of tools that are actually filling up, I think 1.5 drawers in the Craftsman toolboxes that are coming out here. So we'll have like my original twin grips, my original Nipex stuff, the compact Milwaukee, or the subcompact, sorry, the subcompact non-fuel. Love that set. It was like $150. Steel. It's actually more on Black Friday than it was when I got it. Currently, like I've been, those do, because you really want to use them with the small batteries. Man, do those go through batteries like mad. But I think they're plenty powerful. That tire rack up there, here, that tire rack up there was hung by the subcompact drill and subcompact impact, not the impact wrench, impact driver. I am very interested in the impact wrenches. They would probably live quite happily in these drawers, but I have my snap-ons, and I don't use an impact wrench nearly as often. So, but yeah, this is what the setup's going to be, and I'll probably grow, like I said, you know, worst case, this might go on top of here, or some of those sorters will go on top of here, at least for when it's stored here. Now, when I take it with me, unless I need those, these 4, or even less. If I know there's one of these that I don't need, obviously don't need to take it with. So, but, and you'd be like, you can fit all 4 of those? Yeah, that's the whole point of the PACKOUT, is I can pack it down. Now, will I be able to access it when it's in my car? No, not at all. But I will be able to pack it, you know, break it down into those 4 chunks and hook it in the back of the car. And as long as I kit it out correctly, there should be very little at least that I do, that I can't do with this. These 2, like if you were gonna buy a set, like I said, I am not a huge fan of the default like $250 set. My recommendation, you know, because this guy is as much, this bottom guy is basically, unless you get a screaming deal on, unless you want to shoot for something like this. This one might be a little bit much. Like I said, I would have to see what Milwaukee recommends for like how much to put on this bottom guy, because currently this is not loaded up. Obviously the dolly is much, I mean, heck, it's made of metal, it's much stronger. And even having 3 on there seemed about right. And with the height of the handle, that seems about right, because generally you don't want the height of your items to go over the handle. Well, luckily, if I do need to bring all of my PACKOUT someplace, I got both of them. And we've already used the dolly as a dolly, which is You're like, why is that intriguing? Well, because that's its whole intention. Its whole intention is not just to hold this. It's that it gets these where you need to go, folds up, goes in the back of your van or your truck, right? And then when you get there, it's just a dolly. So we've used that to bring things in and out of the house plenty of time. You know, get it up and downstairs, that sort of stuff. So the kit that I originally ran with, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this cabinet. I know a lot of people were kind of saying that that's like the ultimate kit. You know, it was before this existed, basically. Bottom drawer here. And yes, that bottom drawer is not on rails. It is, there's wheels on the bottom that roll on the ground. So some people will say like, oh, it's not quality because it doesn't have like drawer slides. It literally just hangs up here. But actually, you can hear it here. It's rolling on the ground. So, like they're not supposed to be toolboxes. Apparently, a lot of guys over in, because these do have metal drawer slides. So do these. I mean, I don't want to know how to do these. And they're plastic drawers. Some of the guys over in Europe are like, oh, that doesn't have plastic drawer slides. That thing's already $250. Oh, imagine if it you know didn't work the way it does. I think that's pretty genius, personally. Keeps it simple. What I do think is dumb though, like I said, is that the lock is here, right? Whereas all the other ones have it here, here, here. Should have been right there, so that I could run a rod straight through that and lock it up. Now I can do the rod for 3 of them. Not hold it all together with the bottom, which is kind of, there's got to be a reason why I didn't do that. You would think. Hopefully Milwaukee's got some explaining to do. If I recall though, there is, like some people have had to do some modifications because though you can lock these, right, like this, you can just take them apart. So that's another thing I know I think I've seen, Instagram's like a big place for tools. I've seen where people make like locks that go in there, so you can actually lock it together, so they can, you know, at least it's not as easily able to come apart, and like they can't just be like, oh hey, you know, let me just take this whole frickin' toolbox, right? But yeah, so these have not gotten as much use as I would have liked. I still haven't finished getting the garage set up. There's plenty to do out here. Chipping away. Work has been a thing. Let's put it that way. But yeah, let me know what you guys use your PACKOUTs for. I personally still go PACKOUT. Some of you might do DeWalt, or I mean, I don't even know if DeWalt's really even in the game there. I know Makita just put out a new one. That's their second or third one that they put out. Actually, it might be DeWalt, though, at least over in Europe. They have like a metal toolbox one. There's like Tough, I think it's like Tough Case or something like that. I forget what the brand is. It's a really high-end woodworking brand. They use another standard box brand, so I could see if you were into woodworking and you were using a lot of those, like you have a lot of their tools, that you would not go with PACKOUT, you'd go with theirs, because you already have all the tool cases that are for the tools that would snap into the PACKOUT. But realistically, otherwise, I think these PACKOUTs or these toolboxes in general, these modular toolbox systems, are basically like your batteries, right? The thing that Milwaukee, yes, they got a little bit of a false start. They weren't even the first one in the industry, but they're the first one to kind of make a splash with their first gen PACKOUT. But they took that back to the drawing board and revised it. And that's when you started seeing that standard 3-stacker, and that's compatible to the day. Over in Europe, they're actually black with red accents, not red with black accents. Or or specifically UK. Some places in Europe have the same design as us. But the big thing is, like, say if you wanted more sorters or more storage, or like there are a lot of people, because this is so standardized, they're making 3D printable inserts for. We got a box beetle in there. Lovely. He's probably chilling in here because we've had a bunch of them around here. These are box beetles. I've been finding them ever since it got cold and we got to heat the garage. Here you go. These little fuckers. They don't do anything to you. They're just annoying. Found a bunch of them lately around here though. So yeah, that's why I kind of went PACKOUT. That's another big thing, that basically once Milwaukee went lithium ion, minus their little flirt with 24 volt, that was dead and gone within a year. You know, it's they've stuck with the same. They've stuck with the same. Hey, bro. Yeah, man. We'll let him outside. If he survives, it's up to him. But yeah, that's just a big thing for me, is actually, you know, like I've now taken what, a year and a half to build a list, and this is probably more than, you're like, oh Jesus, it's more PACKOUT than all over. Yep, you gotta watch the deals. Like I said, the you could have gotten the dolly and these two drawers for the same price as the default price of that 3 item set, and I would take those any day of the week over that. They're way, with all the dividers and everything. I don't know. I like working in a way that is, you have a tool, it has a place, it goes back to that place, so you know you have that tool. You know, and yes, the dividers aren't in here right now. I have seen, or like, for example, like I was talking about earlier, the dividers in some of these only go one direction, right? They only go one way or another way, or you can't split them up a certain way, stuff like that, right? So people have found that maybe the plastic ones aren't as durable. They're making metal ones. You are not seeing that for the DeWalt Tough Case. You're not seeing that for the, you know, like the Makita whatever. And like Makita just put out a new set, just like they're apparently, you know, they always had their 18 volt, or is it 20 volt for them? It varies depending on country. Now they're going to 40, I believe it was. And all their new tools are coming out in that voltage, which has kind of irked a bunch of, because a lot of people use Makita because the batteries are, like, they just standardized on that platform. Makita is a solid tool. I want to say, especially for like contractors and that sort of stuff. I personally would see a lot of DeWalt with them, you know, like house contractors, but apparently Makita in general, they're just known to be in, I mean, all of our corded tools are Makita. I buy cordless Milwaukee. You don't buy corded Milwaukee, I'll tell you that much. I mean, my heat gun from them is actually muy bueno, very good. Their newer ones are shit though. But yeah, all of our corded tools are Makita, so, you know, they're very, yeah, I don't see them going, and Makita has replacement parts, like, very quality tool. I would be irked if I invested in their line of batteries, and then they're like, hey, all of our new stuff, basically, especially like a really high-end brand new brushless, is all going to be on this new battery platform, which has no backwards or forwards compatibility with our old one. Like, they didn't even build in any sort of compatibility there, where DeWalt was kind of going the route of, what was that, like a 60 volt, they had their flex volt, I don't really know of any new tools that have come out in any recent time for that system that actually use the 60 volt. And then those batteries had a lot of failures. So then they went to the pouch cells. Then the pouch, like that was a very short-lived thing. Milwaukee never even went to the pouch cells. Apparently the pouch cells are super lightweight though. They supposedly went to them for more power. But then they have what they call the tabless, which are the 21700 cells, which Milwaukee has in their forged batteries. And DeWalt went to that as well. So those pouch DeWalts were gone blink of an eye. That is one thing that Milwaukee does, that it seems to do, which is, they seem to standardize and correct fairly quickly. If they have a bad tool, it's replaced fairly fast. They've definitely fucked up because their half-inch there was breaking anvils right out of the box on lug nuts, which shouldn't be, because lug nuts are not even that tight compared to some things it should be doing, right? But yeah, that's the big thing for me, is like the number of times, like, had you went into the Ryobi first gen, well, they just swapped it out this year. Now apparently the Ryobi first gen is very close to the PACKOUT quality. It's a little bit cheaper, but having seen them swap it, and you're like, well, yeah, but PACKOUT did for the first gen too. Yes, it was out for a very short period of time, and now these have probably been, this gen has probably been around 10 years, I would say. I might be wrong on the, when did the current generation of Milwaukee PACKOUT come out? 2017, so almost, and maybe they say it was first launched, there was like that false start, and basically all the very original PACKOUT incompatible. So I don't know, I'd have to do a little bit more research, but all going on, what are we, 8 years now? So it's, that's why I go with the PACKOUT. You know, if you need another thing, I would personally, unless you like, hey, we have to do this thing, and you don't have time to prep, and you know it's going to happen, and you know you're going to need an item, and you have to buy it, you know, then you buy it, right? And at least with PACKOUT, I know I could walk into any of the major retailers basically and get a piece of PACKOUT that I need, right? Or replace a piece. Whereas I don't know that for the other brands. They might not even fucking stock it outside of major sales seasons, right? But I do try to buy it. Like I said, that is normally like $270. I ended up getting this guy and this $250. I think this was this had to be $50. I don't know if they're originally $50. And I'm talking about not the cart, but the my brain is farting here. I'm still up. Let's put it that way. And I got $90 off, right? So I paid $210. So if you play your cards right, you can get it outside of sales though, and they generally don't do like $30 off this. It's like combo deals, and or some, there was a deal, I believe Ace had one where if you buy a tool you get a free PACKOUT and stuff like that. Or they would do like, hey, you order a wrench set, we give you the PACKOUT for free that fits the wrench set. Obviously the Milwaukee wrench set. Yeah, so I'm chuffed. More than likely, the only thing that's going to increase here is the storage. And I guess the one other thing might be one of the tool bags, tool cases. Because now that this can all get in the car, it might not be too bad of an idea to get the tool bag that I can put the tools that are in the car in and can snap onto here. That is all for me. So questions, comments, throw them down below. If you guys are interested, we're gonna have a follow-up to the Amazon Basics electric screwdriver coming. That's charged up, haven't used it yet, but we're gonna finish that video, the second half of it. And like I said, LTT Screwdriver, another video, and actually they sent over, apparently I've seen my content, new colored transparent ones. So I guess if any of you use a system like this that isn't PACKOUT, let me know why. I think the number one reason for a lot of you is you don't, like a big thing is people who don't think they're going to expand it, and price. Price is the number one thing. You know, in some of the cases, like I was looking at the, oh fuck, who was that? SK Tools. All metal, basically. I'm glad I didn't invest with them because they're basically gone. Like, poof. Like they even started selling, like they were trying to go big, go ham, and they had them on Amazon. I had them in my wish list. They were 200 something a pop, but they were built, they were like portable toolboxes like the PACKOUT, right? But built like a standard toolbox was, which I thought was like, why hasn't anybody done that? But I do almost think for ripping around and hucking in the back of your car and your truck and your van, something like a PACKOUT might be more durable because of its impact resistance, rather than metal is it's gonna break. Maybe I'm wrong, but like that one was, I was seriously considering out here, because mainly the number one thing is going to be access, quick access to tools, so I don't have to go to the basement, right? Or at least I can figure out which tool I want from there, you know. That sort of stuff. Or you know, if my mom needs something, it's here. Friends need something, hop in the back door there, snag it, without disturbing, you know, everything and everyone. So that's the main thing, and the SK tool would have been perfect for that, because like Milwaukee does have like a bottom of this that's like a cart that you could roll around the, like made more for shops, right? So that is a potential option. But the SK was much more around that sort of thing. Like think about like a shop oriented, which that's kind of, they're more known for their like mechanic tools. So that makes more sense, and it looked really nicely done. But yeah, just cost was expensive, but the better build could have easily made up for it. But I don't even know if they made it a year on Amazon before they aren't on there. And I think one of you guys might have reached out and said, hey, they're still on their website. My guess would be is because they had to recall the stock and they have to do something with it. I know something did happen with SK regarding, like, if they're made in the USA anymore, which they aren't necessarily, because like ownership changed. They are trying to come back, but I think that was those toolboxes were part of it, maybe. I know I think it's Carlisle is trying to come back. Or did they become like a Napa brand rather than having a tool truck as well? And their stuff's like super pricey, despite being like no longer being a tool truck brand, you know. I don't know. Certain things, you know, but yeah, questions, comments thrown down below. I think I've hit mine is, like I said, some organizational stuff as we come to need it, or for specific tools. I think I'm good. I'm solid. I shouldn't say good. Like, I'm very happy. Like, do you think this is too tall? Because I think, like, normally with a cart, you're not supposed to load it up, you know, like, well past the handle. I'll have to load it up, try and move it around and find out. Like I said, I always got this guy. If I need to, I can put, like, you know, a smaller one with 4 drawers on top of there or something if needed. But yeah, thought I'd give you guys an update, and I'm happy to finally get this all set up. And I'm actually going to be pulling probably not going to put the dividers in right away. These plastic guys, I'm first going to get all my tools and figure out what drawers they need to go in. Then I'll put in dividers, you know, depending on if they're needed and where. I may even skip the built-in ones and look into the metal ones, because I know I saw those. They gave you way more customizability as to where they go. I think some of these might not go all the way down to the bottom too, so like stuff can get under them potentially. depending on like the direction, and we'll give things a shot. You know what I mean? So far, I've just hooked tools. You guys saw the angle grinder down here, and all of its accessories. We got our little blower. I need to get some of the battery chargers up on the wall and a place to put them. So we're working through it. But yeah, that was a really good deal. Perfect, at least for me. I wanted this guy and this guy to fill out my setup, and yeah, it. I still don't think the original configuration of the dolly plus these two is bad by any means. I would take that any day over the standard 3 PACKOUT config. So let me know your thoughts. And I'm gonna go and get some sleep. Peace.